Hey, what's going on, everybody? In this video on NBA Top Shot, going to make this video that I've been wanting to make for a while, and that is players that we can't wait to get on Top Shot. So a lot of these guys just aren't on there because they were hurt, or some of them could be running back players, and then we got a lot of rookies coming in that I also can't wait for to get on the platform. There's always a ton of hype around rookies. Obviously this year there was so much hype around LaMelo moments and Anthony Edwards moments, and then also guys like Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey, and then even some other guys just with potential like RJ Hampton, Cole Anthony, and those kind of guys. Just a ton of hype around all of them. So I'm going to get into all of that in this video, and yeah, let's get into this one. So I'm excited about it. So obviously here we have RJ Hampton, a guy I just talked about. A lot of just hype around this. I mean, $12 for an 18K moment, pretty good. So your rookies with badges are going to be priced higher. So all these guys I expect to be pretty sought after coming Series 3, maybe even coming some of these guys run it back this summer. So the first one we have here is Klay Thompson. Obviously can't wait for Klay to come back. His last game was in the 2019 finals, maybe 2018 finals, when they lost to the 2019 finals when they lost to the Raptors. So his last game was over 2 years ago now. And if you guys are just on Top Shot and don't know a ton about NBA, you might not know Klay Thompson because he hasn't been around for Series 1 or Series 2. So a little bit about Klay Thompson. Been on the Warriors since 2011. The last 5 years he played, he averaged over 20 points a game and has never shot under 40% from three. Just an absolute sniper. Him and Steph Curry on the same team are ridiculous. They won 3 championships together, with Steph and Klay coming back for next season. Many expect them to be in the mix for the championship next year, so really excited to get a Klay Thompson moment, and I'm curious of what they're going to be for their debut moment. Is it going to be out of 12,000 or 4,000? Hopefully they make it a little more scarce and make it out of 4,000, not 12, but either way you're going to get that Top Shot badge. If it's out of 4,000, a Klay Thompson is definitely going to be over $200, maybe $300, $400 for a Klay Thompson, a future Hall of Famer. And then if it's a 12K debut, definitely going to say it's going to be over $100 even for a 12K. Definitely excited to have one of these moments coming, and I hope he just has a bounce back year. So the next guy is kind of a hometown pick for me, from Sacramento. Tyreke Evans started his career first 4 years on the Kings, and he was actually banned for the NBA for 2 years. His last year was 2019, and he was banned for violating some kind of drug law in the NBA, which they don't even say what drug it was. I think it was like a party drug, not like a performance-enhancing drug. But either way, if he could come back, he's getting kind of old now. He's in his young 30s. He might be 32-ish, but you can see the production. His Rookie of the Year season, he averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and having a Rookie of the Year in the mix for some challenges or quests would be awesome, to get another Rookie of the Year in there and have that moment have some value for challenges and stuff like that. A lot of people kind of were down on him. I mean, his most points per game was his first season, and then his second to last season here, he averaged 19 points a game, also 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and then his last season didn't do too great after he got a pretty nice deal from the Pacers. But I'd be excited to have a Tyreke Evans moment. That's just me, but hopefully he comes back, and hopefully he just gets on a roster at least, and we'll get on Top Shot. I would be excited. All right, and then before we get into the upcoming rookies, we're going to talk about a couple running back players that everyone's excited for. So obviously the first would be Michael Jordan. You can see his rookie cards here sold for $700,000 this year. So obviously ton of hype still around Michael Jordan. a lot of people on Top Shot are a little older and remember Michael Jordan a little more. I'm like kind of right on the edge of being familiar with Michael Jordan and actually watching him in games, because I was pretty young when he was still playing. I was probably like 10, but I definitely remember him, and I remember him in NBA Live like 2003 or something, playing with him when he was on the Wizards. But for most of us, this is the one we're looking for, is Kobe Bryant. He's kind of like our generation's Michael Jordan. Obviously, he is a huge deal with a ton of current NBA players. Like, they kind of look at him as their Michael Jordan, and he was like their idol for current players. And his rookie card sold for $1.8 million. So, ton of hype around a Kobe Bryant moment. I have no idea what a run it back Kobe Bryant would go for. I mean, if it's out of like 4,000 for a debut run it back moment, I would say like thousands of dollars, even for one out of 4,000. Probably same with Michael Jordan. I would maybe even say Kobe's would be more, just because of the generation, because Jordan's a little older. But a Kobe would be literally insane. All right, next, let's get into the NBA draft and the rookies coming up, because draft's coming up on Thursday. So I want to talk about these. Definitely some exciting players that you can get in there. So this mock draft obviously has Cade Cunningham at number 1. And Cunningham, a lot of people I've heard recently think he's going to be like a Luka Doncic type player with that kind of upside. He's got a similar size and handle and like feel for the game. And they were talking about how he took a terrible Oklahoma State team to the NCAA tournament and just had like a crazy freshman year. And they think he can dominate, similar to like what Luka Doncic can do. Let's see what this mock draft has him for comparisons, if we could pull that up. But I think the Luka comparison is pretty good. So they have him. Oh, they do have Luka and Jason Tatum. So he should be a no-brainer first pick overall. Obviously, if he has Tatum and Luka upside, why would you not take him first, especially with that Luka upside? And then Tatum still maybe hasn't cracked top 10 NBA player, but could soon. So I would expect his moments to have maybe not as much hype as LaMelo Ball, but more than Anthony Edwards from this season. So I would put him there, because he's probably also the Rookie of the Year favorite going in, most definitely. Especially if the Pistons keep the number 1 pick, he's just going to dominate with the Pistons and just be their go-to scorer. So next one we have here, they actually have Evan Mobley in the second spot here. I've heard that he's jumping up the boards a lot, and a lot of teams are trying to trade up to get him, so it's possible that Houston trades the pick to someone and select him second. The other one is Jalen Green, but with Houston they have Kevin Porter Jr., kind of a shooting guard, ball handler kind of player, and I don't know if they want to pair him with Jalen Green. He's kind of a similar player. They might go Mobley as well there. But the player I'm actually more excited about is Jalen Green. He's kind of like a flashier player. I would say kind of like a Ja Morant type of player with that kind of athleticism and scoring ability. Maybe he's even a better shooter than Ja Morant. Let's see what they give him for comparisons on this site. So they compare him to Bradley Beal. So he's that kind of shooter and scorer, probably maybe even a better three-point shooter than Beal. Beal, I think, only shot like 34%, I heard recently, from 3 last year in the G League. Jalen Green shot almost 37% and 18 points a game as probably like an 18-year-old. So I think he can have the same kind of production in the NBA based on what team he goes to, but he should also be in the mix for Rookie of the Year. And then also just has kind of that flash and like swag to his game that's kind of like Ja Morant. Now I'm actually going to take it down a bit to a player here that some of you may not have heard of, and that's Josh Christopher. So he had a ton of hype coming out of high school. Probably has some of the biggest following, if not the biggest, out of anyone on this draft board on social media, and had like a really good year for Arizona State. Let's see his averages. So only 14 points a game and shot just over 30% from three. But I think if he can increase that 3-point percentage and bump up his points per game, he could be a really good player. Depends where he goes, because he's going to go lower. So he could go to a really good team and not play that much, which would hurt him. But definitely a player I'm excited to have on Top Shot. I think that he just has a ton of potential. And even if he goes to a good team, you could get him for pretty cheap maybe. And he is definitely a candidate to break out and just be a really good NBA player. His NBA comparison here is Norman Powell. Although Norman Powell actually went off at the end of last year, so maybe it's a pretty good comparison. But honestly, his game kind of reminds me of Anthony Edwards, just a little shorter, but similar, like big build and athleticism, and can dunk on people, and also just a big time scorer. So I think he has a chance to be a really good player and a pretty good moment to have on Top Shot. All right, and lastly, the craziest player that we're waiting for to have finally a Top Shot debut and an NBA debut. We've been waiting years for this one, and that is Lonzo Ball. So LaMelo Ball's brother. If you don't know, he's been trying to make the NBA for a couple years, has had kind of a crazy path to make it to the NBA, and recently the Hornets have said they're going to invite him to at least their training camp before Summer League, and he'll have to actually make the Summer League roster first, and then from there he's going to have to make the actual roster. So it's going to be a long road for him to make it to the NBA, but it's definitely possible for him to make the team if Giannis can get his brother on the team. If Cody Martin and Caleb Martin both made the Hornets team as brothers, why couldn't their star player get his brother at least a tryout and maybe even a roster invite, just see how he does for a year, maybe as a two-way player? His debut moment would be insanely popping off just because he's so popular, similar to LaMelo Ball and Lonzo's moments. Even if he's not a good player, if he has a moment on there, his would just take off. You could see how popular he is. If we pull up his Instagram, he has millions of followers. So 2.5 million followers for Lonzo Ball, compared to Anthony Edwards here, has less than 700,000. So one of the best rookies in the NBA last year has way less followers than a guy that hasn't even made it on a roster yet and is not confirmed to be in the NBA even next year. So he's just insanely popular. So let me know what you guys think about all these players, if you're excited to have them on Top Shot, and then also comment down below some guys that you're waiting for either in Run It Back or Series 3 to start collecting their moments. If you like the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and check out more videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys in another one.